back again. Back again. Again, I did a little bit of makeup. My hair, I did not. It's just like this right now. But, hello. Welcome to my channel that there is usually just me blabbing. And, mostly probably it's just, people. I don't even know who gets to really watch this. I mainly speak for my future self. It's a vlog for me and myself and the self-love journey, and if you would like to follow along, welcome. But in general, even this whole thing that I'm doing is for myself, to see the progress of it and putting myself out there and speaking my truth. And again, I really don't have anything scripted. I don't have anything, a theme to talk about. Every time I try to click, I just go for it, and without really mindlessly just speak and then mindlessly just post, because I came from being a person that is so overthinker. I've been such an overthinking person, and now I really slowly part ways from it and learning, growing out of it, and it's still there as a habit, but it's been helping me a lot of just doing it, not worrying about what other people think, and just not worry and just do things for me. And I just know that how much I adore myself from like when I look back on myself of all the years I've come, especially like 3 years ago and before, I can now look at it very dearly, like, oh, like, you've been through so much, you did such a good job, I'm proud of you. And I feel like from 5 years from now, or I don't know how many years from now, when I look back to now to watch this, I can see how much I've grown and see that development. And it's just like nice if some people want to follow along, and that's totally great, like, welcome again. So I don't really have a theme, but I think today I'm trying to focus on, because I saw this video about like a month ago of this person saying about like when someone steals your personality. And I was just like, oh, that's so interesting, because I feel like I grew up with multiple personalities. I've always grew up with as third person view, if that makes sense. Like, I've always grew up with having a mindset of not I am, but Yuki, is a daughter of who. I am someone's friend. I am someone's student, but it's like not just it was just like Yuki is. And which was kind of hard for me, because it was like I didn't know what that meant for me of who I was. And I can't put a dot on exactly when I started to like not think of myself as myself anymore. Like scientifically, or science wise, or research, and I don't know if this is accurate, but people told me before, but maybe like 3 years old, that's when you develop, or maybe younger, depending on who you are, you develop of the consciousness of who I is, like I am to who to what. And if an acknowledge, like even a mirror, like you're not just like a visual, you have like a structure of yourself. And at a certain point of my life, I kind of lost that of who I was, and I got really into my head of the definition of me was, even though I understood up here, like in my head, that like no one knows them about themselves 100% pass away, maybe 99%, but no one knows themselves 100%, and no matter who you are. And but there's a certain structure of level that I think there's a piece of who you are. And I got to a certain point, I just didn't know what that was anymore for me, because I wasn't living for myself. I was constantly living for other people, but living for other people, I feel like I was letting people down due to my eczema and my mental health. I went down very like downhill, because I couldn't release the thought that I was a burden. Because of me, I can't do this. Because of me, can't. She can do this. He can't do this. They can't do this. Like, I think it freaked me out what the idea was for me of who I was just a burden. It's just I was just wasting people's time. I shouldn't be here, which led me to a lot of darker thoughts. But that could be another story for another day. But like the consciousness of me and personality, and this person in this video specifically talking about personalities. And I thought it was really interesting because growing up for me, even now when I talk, I have like kind of like, I don't know if you know these photo cards that we had like this like those kids camera that this thing that rotates and I don't know what it's called. It's like those photo things that you click and then it shifts the picture in it, so it's not actually taking photos, but when you look at the like the square thing that you can see the photo, it's just rotating the actual picture, that there's a bunch of pictures on a paper in a circle and it just rotates. I feel like that when I'm talking sometimes, that certain points of my speech I am imitating of a person that I know of, or in my daily interaction, or it's someone through a TV show. And I've always done this since I was a kid. Like I imitate, like I think other people too. Like I think they imitate like their favorite characters from a book. So it doesn't even have to be a human, or like a TV show you watch, or a music like you listen to it, or even your own family members. Like I grew up literally imitating things, but I was too shy to practice that, so I wasn't a good imitator. And that's probably why I'm not great at singing, because I can't really hear, and I haven't practiced that of projecting what I hear properly. There are people who can sing, they can hear it, and that's why you can say it. Same as like language, actually. I've learned that there's a certain frequency of each language, and for me, for Japanese and English, like why Japanese people have a hard time hearing English unless you grew up with it or heard it when you're in childhood, is because the frequency level, I forgot which one's higher or lower, is not the same, and Japanese just can't hear of the English American ones because it's lower than what their range is. So if they can hear it, they can speak it, which I thought that was so interesting. So a lot of people did a hearing training and are able to pronunciate and enunciate well, of which I also think it's kind of bullshit of like pronunciations, because it's like who even, there's not a strict rule. We all have accents in our own ways. I don't think there should be a strict rule of how to say a word. If it communicates, it communicates. But I understand if it's like a different for your job or whatever. This is like your lifestyle I have to do. But daily conversations, it shouldn't matter too much. As long as they're a vibe, even if it's different languages, you can catch a vibe from them, and like it's the importance of the effort of trying to understand that person. Even that's gestures, even if you don't look at them, you can feel them. Like there's this beauty of human to human interactions. But again, put that to the side again. I can go off tangent all the time. But personalities, like growing up, I would literally imitate everything that I liked, right? Even with people I interacted, or even animals and such. And so even now when I talk, kind of like the photo card, I have rotations of people that I'm talking, or like, oh, I sound like this person, oh, I sound like this person. Like I am a combination of, when I speak in Japanese, when I speak in English is very different too, but I'm learning how to embrace it into my own way to let it out. But when that video came up, it was interesting to me because it made me think, how much is in my own personality and how much is it others? And that, to a point, is like, how much do you have that it was actually within you, that other people brought it out of you, or out for you? I don't know how to word that, but because now at certain points when I speak, it feels like I am speaking. Before it was like I would feel like I'm speaking like a certain person, whether I learned through TV or in my daily interaction, friends, family. And I don't know who that was, and it confused me while as I was talking. It made me feel kind of like, okay, what is this kind of feeling? But now it's kind of like, even when I'm talking now, it's interesting because I think I have a certain persona, because I'm not talking to a human, I'm talking to myself, to a camera, that I don't know if this is my actual daily, but I am trying to focus on as if I'm talking to regularly with my roommates and like my family and such. And but how you like everyone, how you talk with publicly with other people and strangers, and how you talk with your friends and how you talk with your family or coworkers is totally different. And I think that's in any culture. I think there's a certain structure. There's people who are exactly the same at all times, but is it really? Because you don't know how you talk to yourself in your own brain. So I have a habit of talking to myself a lot. I definitely got that from my mom. She does that a lot too, but I do that a lot on my own of reflection time. I do that when I am sad, frustrated, or even happy. Like this is what I do by myself without a camera. Is just like I just talk to myself and make up a scenario and just let it out. When we bundle things in emotions, it can feel overwhelming or feel stuck or just too much. Sometimes you just want to keep it to yourself. And if you know how to like maintain that and it doesn't overwhelm you, great. But most people like me, like sometimes it just feels like you're stuck in this cage and you just don't know what to do and you want to release and you explode basically at the most inappropriate time is what other people say. Inappropriate time, you don't know, but it's just you feel like you're releasing at a time that wasn't most fitting at that time for you and others, and you make other people comfortable and you make yourself uncomfortable. But if you make yourself comfortable in your daily, in your own time, and know how to release that, then you wouldn't have to release it at those times that you're like, I didn't mean to do that, if that makes sense. Yeah, because I definitely speak like so many people in my life, including like especially my friends. I definitely pick up on a lot because I like them. I imitate, and that's how you learn how to speak. And sometimes, and especially in English, it's definitely a combination with so many of TV shows and my friends, because those are the people I interact the most with English. My Japanese personality is very similar to my parents because that's who I spoke most to in Japanese, but also with the training that I did in Japan. I imitated a lot. That was a training too. It's like you imitate that person, become that person. And so at a certain point, and then when I have customer service, it's like I before was put a complete persona that it was like most 80% fake. Now it's becoming like 50-50 because I still have to keep a boundary to make it professional, to speak, to make things go through. But I have that genuineness that I do want you to feel better by talking to me. And that's how I feel with anyone. But I needed to understand of like not drain myself. I have to learn what that means for me in my own time to speak upon anything for my own mental health, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes any sense, but when your own voice, the most voice that you hear is your own voice, whether you say it outward or inward. I know there's some people who doesn't have like thoughts at all in their head, but people like me who has constantly thoughts 24/7, it feels like, because I feel like I sleep or I talk in my dreams and think in my dreams really hard too. But if you keep talking negativity, even you're not saying it outward towards people, but if you're saying in your head, that's the most thing that you're going to believe the most and going to be used to the most. So I changed my, some people say frequency, hado, ha is wave, do is movement. So they usually talk about your energy, I guess. But in order to lift that energy up for myself was to speak kindly to myself, to not judge myself for the things that, it's not like, oh, you can't judge yourself. It was just like, just look at your thoughts as it is. And when I do, those voices that I used was things that I don't know which voices it was, to be honest. I don't know which voice it is. I don't know if it's a voice that I'm talking right now. I don't know it's a voice that my mentor. I don't know. It's interesting. I can't put a dot on who voice it is that when I'm trying to cheer myself up. But or who I picture of. I have a hard time bringing that to myself in attention because I try to figure it out, but I was like, I don't need to figure that out yet. I think it naturally comes to me. And there are certain points of like, hyping people up. Like I learned that through imitation from other people, like, oh, this is what people like. So I try to do that. And then like, I naturally love to do that. It radiates out of me or pours out of me. But when I kept doing it, like by imitating other people too much. Like, I hyped people up as a job for like a photo booth, and I know I was good at it, and I know I was like excited about it because it's like, oh, okay, like this is exciting. Like, it was easy to hype people up and compliment people because they all looked amazing. Now, if it's people of our daily life or something, or someone's frustrated, like a customer's frustrated or whatever, you can't hype them up, but trying to understand where that pain is without draining yourself is to keep where your boundary is of who you are was huge for me. Like, I didn't know what that boundary meant for me, to not exhaust myself letting people in, but also knowing where that space is. You need to communicate that, but you can only communicate things and explain things if you know where that is. And I didn't know where that is for me. And so that voice for me was journaling. That voice was doing this. That voice is literally just understanding that space of where I belong in myself. It's not a place where I belong as a physical place, but place in my own self where that is. And I'm still learning, right? I still sometimes like people, the more I care about that person, I realize the more it drains me because I'm so emotionally invested. So I'm learning how to step back and be like, I have to care for men, but this is not about how much I care about them. It's about what they need. So putting yourself to the side and listening to that voice of theirs and not yours can be so hard. But I'm learning that balance the more I am doing that for myself. And for me, a reflection was, it was really hard for me to look at the mirror. But starting from last August, I tried to look at the mirror more, and I tried to, hype myself more, and put myself to the side, but also respecting the thing that I was doing that for other people. I did that to myself first, and the more I did that, the more structured I was, and it didn't matter of who thought of what of me. It still kind of matters, but it, like, I'm still learning from that, but like, it didn't really matter much anymore. It was just like, oh, I have me. And it's like, it wasn't like I have me, I don't need anyone else. It wasn't like that, but I don't need anyone else, really. Like, if I want them, it would be nice, but I don't need anyone to hype me up. I don't need anyone to constantly compliment me, because I know my worth now. Before I didn't. But that was was to speak that voice of yourself that you give other people when you share love to people. Do that for yourself first. And then that's how I understand my boundary. I don't even think that was the first of the theme of it. It was talking about different personalities of you can come at me that I probably have ADHD or something, but I think everyone has a certain degree of it. But it has luckily not impacted me too much in my daily life. I know it impacted some I've noticed that some of, very few, but some of my friends, you understand that how much your weirdness is, or how much like you get self-conscious, is the moment you see the difference of reaction of other people towards you. And I realize that sometimes my scatterness in my of my topics is can make people feel uneasy. So this is my purpose of this channel. Again, I'm not a professional speaker. I'm not a professional mental health activist. Like, I just love to improve myself, and I know so many people are doing it. And if you just want to follow along again, that'd be awesome. And if there's anything that you want to talk about, like, feel free to, this is so fun to say, feel free to comment whatever. This is an open space. If you want to privately message me, oh, my Instagram's hacked right now, so I don't know. But I do have a different account, so if you're curious, just let me know. But again, I don't know who's watching this, but Yuki, if it's you, look at you. You're loving yourself bit by bit. It's only been like it's literally not even 6 months, girl. And you've come this far to love yourself. That's huge. You still thought very negative of yourself before that. And very, like, I still have my insecure moments every day. oh, I know I'm not super good enough for anyone, but like, I feel good enough for myself. That's huge for you, girl. Really huge. Wow. Who knew? Anyways, I try to keep this short as I can, to be honest, and I know this is really long, but you know what? Time is time. Again, I'm proud of you. Not just you that I'm talking to myself, but if you're watching this and you're not Yuki, I'm very proud of you for getting through every day. It's not easy to get through every day. It's everyone goes through something really hard and difficult, but no, everything is temporary. Even the happy moments, it has to come and go. And there's a reason why we are in this body to, like my mom says, that clicked to me was we have bodies and we experience through bodies because to understand what limitation is. And before I took it very negative of like limit, you feel restricted, but I realized you need some restrictedness to have appreciation towards what freedom is, and that also limitness means is what I've started to realize. And there's a beauty of it, and I can go that another time too. But yeah, anyways, it's February. Let go. Again, thank you for listening. If you did listen to all of this and listen to the end, thank you so much. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for being here to watch this if you are watching this. But overall, if you skimmed through and you just made it through the end, thank you for being you. And I hope you love yourself every day, even just a little bit more. A little bit more that you think of is probably a lot to other people, at least for me. Even if you think even a second of yourself, that's a huge progress. Don't belittle it. That's a huge progress. So I'm proud of you and love you.